We're grateful for your ongoing blessings for us. We desire to be blessings for our community this day, Sunday, but in many ways, here and around the world, make life easy for those suffering. This we pray.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have any exercise of these? Yes, you may guess.
Nope.
Well, Jackie, you just wanted to show us. Well, we have our next ceremony is the building.
And Tom and Vic, they're finding it hard to hear, so just make sure you're speaking into both the microphones.
Today is honoring our perfect attenders from the last quarter. I have a little bit of candy for you up here, for everybody that's here. Will you please come up? Amanda Acola, Rick Anderson, Dennis Strader, Heidi Strader, Mary Casey, Linda Elveka, Carol Hibbs, Kim Chad Ramirez, Susan Martin, Tom Claudy, Robert Moore, Abigail Nelson, Robert Thomas, and Daniel Bellamy. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's see where Anderson is. Thank you. Now we have a vocational talk from Jim Estes.
Sure. Yeah.
Watch your step there.
I was warned about this like 2 weeks ago, but totally forgot. All right. You all know my name is Rasmussen, member of Rotary Jackson County. Tax season is now officially over, kind of sort of. They extended the deadline to May 17th, so we got 3 more weeks for this. But a little background, I am from the Mason City area. Plymouth, Iowa, about 7 miles north of Mason City. Been in town for 13 years now. Thorough picture controls, and I was a Joe Carter once down in college. And I've been at Rotary CPA for the last 3 years. What does the CPA do? Probably not hard to figure that out. We do books, county, taxes, etc. I will tell you, I love my job. The last year, 2 years, with a couple of storms and COVID, was like, that fine CPA firm and stuff, and a lot of good experiences. The best part about it is that our small business clients really have moved hard to move or not to do. So, if I summarize what drives me every day, I have passion to see small businesses succeed. I'm not opposed to Walmart, Amazon, all the big corporations. I've got a lot of value on Main Street, Marshalltown, Main Street, Iowa. I don't mind kids that have the ability to go to a shop. I don't around our town. But going forward, I can promise I will do my best to be here each and every week. And if not, your director come buzz me anytime, so that I will allow her to do that. I look forward to being part of Rotary, going forward more, adding some value, helping out, being part of that community, and, I love what I do, so. Any questions other than taxes? I look forward to
Tom, we have to fix the mic and the computer is freezing, so. Okay. Okay, speak into that other mic. Speak. Right. Mark, do you have any ideas? Because I'm doing the regular stuff. We do, I know. That thing came up and I clicked on it.
So it's not finding the microphone. Go down here, and then on this. Go up here. Okay, do the drop down. It should say you. It's this one.
No, we don't have the camera.
Oh, that's right. Oh, wait, there we go. Now you should have it. Is that right?
Okay, say something into the mic. Okay.
Okay. Drop it on
It's right here.
Chief Tupper, can you tell us what you've learned?
I'll give you two things. I've learned that my kids hate copper, which I love, by the way. I don't know what's wrong. And the other thing is, if we don't do takeout on Friday, it's a big problem for my 8-year-old. So we always got to do takeout on Friday.
Thank you, Doug and Mike. Is it working, Kim?
Yeah, I just tried sending me smart comments on. That's Todd. If you can signal, you can just talk.
Todd, can you hear me? Come in the room if you can hear us. Okay, thank you, Doug. Thank you, Mike. I knew Doug. He'll buy me a glass of wine later for that. I know. Since we don't have Andrina here, but she is on Zoom, would you open up your mic, Andrina, and tell us about this Friday night? Can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm so sorry. I also have microphone problems apparently. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm not there in person today, but the Cleaning Act Challenge is this Friday. And it will start at 5 o'clock at Riverview Park. And as of right now, we have 7 people signed up, but I know there are more than 7 people in Rotary. So hopefully we get more people showing up on Friday. It's really easy. All you have to do is come, bring some gloves, wear your mask, and bring a trash bag if you can. I'll bring a whole bunch, a whole roll. So we should have plenty, but if you could just bring anything that you would normally bring with you to pick up trash. And then, yeah, we'll pick up for around 2 hours up until 7. So if you're busy at 5, but you can come at 6, come join us and it should be a good time. And yeah, that's everything that I can think of. Oh, sorry. Also, if you are planning on attending, if you could email myself, and my email is just my first name, Andrina, then a period, and then my last name, helgerson@gmail.com. Or if you could email Kim and she'll forward those on to me. That'll allow me to send out an email if we weirdly have snow like we did yesterday and we want to reschedule, because I'm sure you guys don't want to pick up trash in the snow. But yep, that's everything that I have. And hopefully I'll see you guys all on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrina. So you heard her. We need more people to go. There's 7 people signed up. The park is quite large. And so if you can go, please send her an email, call me, talk to Kim, whatever. So we've got a head count. Do we still have the smart aleck Todd on for news?
I resent that comment, Tom. Here is your news for the day. The Salvation Army has received a donation of frozen meat with the pre-portioned combos of beef, chicken, pork, and fish. The boxes will be given out today and tomorrow between 9:30 and noon and 1 and 3:30. Also on Saturday, Cornerstone Church of Marshalltown will again be working with USDA farmers to families to hand out 930 boxes of food, each with 30 pounds worth of milk, meat, and produce. These will be handed out at the city parking lot at 111 West Church. The food boxes will be available beginning at 10 a.m. Marshalltown's biggest employer is providing free college and trade school opportunities for their employees, including dependents of employees. Members of Marshalltown Community School Board heard from JBS Marshalltown General Manager Todd Carl at Monday night's board meeting about the Better Futures program, in which JBS USA will give employees and their dependents the opportunity to pursue associate degrees and trade certificates tuition paid free by JBS. Carl said one intention of the Better Futures program is to grow and sustain JBS's workforce. Iowa now has only one long-term healthcare facility classified as in a COVID outbreak. That's in Polk County at the Urbandale Healthcare Center. The facilities under outbreak in Wapello County have significantly recovered to be taken off the list. So overall, 503 new positive tests reported on the state's website as of this morning, 24 in Story County and 6 in Marshall County. Weekly crop report shows some seed got into the ground for the first time this year. The report says that 4% of the projected corn crop is in the ground. There were scattered reports of soybeans planted as well. The most progress was made with oats, as 2/3 of that crop has been planted. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you should maybe prep your plants and pipes again tonight, as there is a freeze warning in effect again. Sub-freezing temperatures as low as 27 degrees are possible, which could kill crops and other sensitive vegetation and possibly damage unprotected outdoor plumbing. Residents are advised to take steps to protect tender plants from the cold and to prevent the freezing and possible bursting of outdoor water pipes. They should be wrapped, drained, or allowed to drip slowly. Temperatures are expected to rise to the mid-40s tomorrow afternoon and almost 60 by Thursday. Finally, a new small business owner was opening up a new business, and one of the owner's friends arranged for flowers to be sent to mark the occasion and wish the owner good luck. So the flowers arrived at the new business site, and the business owner read the accompanying card, and it said, "Rest in peace." The business owner called his friend, told him what the card said, and the friend then called the florist to complain. After he told the florist of the obvious mistake and how angry he was, the florist said, "Sir, I'm really sorry for the mistake, but rather than getting angry, you should consider this. Somewhere, there's a funeral taking place today, and they have flowers with a note saying, 'Congratulations on your new location.'"
Thank you, Todd. Now you can turn yourself off. Well, again, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. His name is Terry Eisenbarth. And Terry is a very 25-plus year career in education as a teacher, coach, administrator in the public school sector as well as the private sector. He's also very active in his faith life and parish activities, serving in many capacities, but one that he enjoys the most is serving as catechist and faith formation director for the youth. Terry received a bachelor's in elementary education at Central College. He also graduated with a master's of education from Iowa State. Right? Terry's also very conflicted. He's married to Jackie, and they've been married for 22 years, have 3 kids. Jackie is working in the school system here locally. And daughter Riley is 20 years old, a sophomore at St. Ambrose. Son Jason is 16 years old, a sophomore at the community school district. And daughter Eiley, did I say that right? It's Ellie, excuse me, is 7 years old and a first grader at St. Francis. So I'm sure she rides to school with her father once in a while. He enjoys his family life tremendously, and Terry's drive is to love God, love his neighbor, and practice the golden rule. So let's welcome Terry today.
Thanks, Tom. I got to grab a couple more things real briefly. My question would be, how many of you have ever spoken at a Rotary before? All right, so you kind of know that you have somewhat of a plan, and not exactly sure how that's going to work out. I'm going to start by asking how many of you, before I do the juggling, we're in Marshalltown, Iowa. I never saw that coming. Okay. How many of you are natives of Marshalltown? Will you please raise your hand? Okay. I'm not. I'm a native of Keosauqua, Iowa, which is down by Missouri. My wife and I and family were in Pocahontas, Iowa. I was a happy Catholic school principal at a small school. My wife worked at the AEA. Daughter went off to college. My son was in high school, and he's the class president of his freshman class. One of those small, it'd be like a 1A, 2A schools where you know everybody and you know everybody's business in small town. Well, I'm going to use the word God's favor from time to time just because that's what I believe. And sometimes things happen and you're like, oh, that's interesting. But St. Francis of Assisi Catholic School was calling, you know, and I'll tell you the story some other time if you want to talk about that on the side. But anyway, I remember saying to my son, who was a freshman, my daughter's already in college in Davenport, St. Ambrose. And I remember sitting down with him and I said, hey, we have an opportunity. I have an opportunity. And I was telling him about it. And I said, how well do you like here if you want to grad? He goes, well, on a 1 to 10, I give it a 15 as far as where he was at. He was class president, a lot of good things going on. He goes, but I need to pray on it. He was 15 when he said that, all right? So I'm going to tell you the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that's my wife and I are very faithful people, but I'm like, wow, that's pretty mature. And so Jackson prayed on it, but there's a point of this story, and the story is I'm in Marshalltown now, but I want to know as I'm looking at a couple, I'm like, so Jackie Wyant's sitting over there. I didn't know she was going to be here today. And I remember calling Jackie because it's my son, and we might be making a move in Marshalltown, big school. And so I called Jackie. We talked handful of times. She sets up somewhat of just a personal orientation. My son loves basketball and he played football, And so I met Jackie, my family did, my whole family came. Riley didn't because she was in college. Met Jackie, and I was impressed. And then she had a basketball coach and a football coach, gave us a tour and all that. And when we were done, my son said, yep, I'm in. Now, I tell you that partly because I believe God's favors on it, but also Jackie, who's sitting right over there that I didn't know was here, was part of me being impressed with, all right, that place has got it going on if she's there, okay? I'm also, I don't know if Theron minds if I call him a friend or not, but him and I have some history as far as where we went to school and played football. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine a better place to be for my son. He's getting inducted in the National Honor Society on Thursday. And things are going really well, all on started back there. I'm like, should we do this trip or not? Should we make this or not? And we're here, and I'm very happy to be here. So I just wanted to share that. I want to give kudos to Jackie and Theron both because I think you guys are great leaders, all right? So how many of you juggle things? Juggle responsibilities, to-dos? Yeah, that lady's hands up. So I can juggle. Now, that's not something I'm trying to say to impress you. I'm trying to say that I use some of the things that I can do. Like I almost brought my guitar and sang, I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. But I didn't know how weird that would seem to you guys. And I'm like, I don't know if you wanted the mask. I like not having the mask on. But I learned to juggle as a young kid. And this ties into why I'm standing here as a principal today. As a young kid in a small rural town, was bored as could be out in Keosauqua, Iowa. And I remember walking around and I saw some walnuts. Bored as can be. Have you ever heard kids say, I'm bored? Your kids ever say they're bored, Chief?
Every day.
Yep. And I just remember doing this. I picked these walnuts up and I was looking at them. This is going to tie to lifelong learning, experiential learning, and just trying stuff. And if you fail, who cares? Keep trying, see what happens, right? I remember looking at them and I remember visualizing saying, this is going to happen. I'm going to have to do that little bit. So I'm going to do that. And then all of a sudden I just started throwing them up. Okay? Now that's the best I've done in a long while. But I use this as an education. Hey, find something to do. And if you get to that point, like, I don't know what to do, create something, learn something, get fed in your cap so that you can go and do it. My daughter's doing that right now. She's an RA at St. Ambrose, and you have to be pretty responsible to be an RA. And unbeknownst to my wife and I, she's been practicing guitar and singing, and she sounds absolutely beautiful. Like it brought me to tears. And I'm like, God's going to use that somewhere to make a difference in somebody's life. All right. So I'm getting off track a little bit. That happens every once in a while when you're speaking. If you would stand up, I'm going to do something really kind of fun here. If you'd stand up, please. One of the rules of public speaking, if you want to get some of the pressure off of yourself, Theron, what do? You put it on the crowd, right? So this is going to be a game, and I do this too. So a lot of things, well, I can tell you this. There isn't anything that I do that doesn't have some sort of connection to something. So I have a quarter. We're going to play a game called Heads or Tails. Now, I do this a lot at the Catholic school. A lot of the kids like it. And as I'm doing it, they like it just because it's a game. But I also say sometimes you just have to make a pick. You don't know exactly what it's going to be, right, in life? But you have to make a guess, an informed guess. And so once again, another lesson. But this lesson will turn a bunch of 40-somethings. Are we 40? Would the average be 40? Into a game, and then you'll get a little something from me. So if you think I'm going to pick heads, put your hand like that. If you think I'm going to pick tails, put your hand on your tails. Okay, and we're going to see this through until the last person's standing. All right, so go ahead and make a pick. And you're on the honor system. Every once in a while, I have to remind kids, now I think you had your hands on your tails. All right. Tails. So if you're the heads, you need to sit down. Sorry, Theron. Okay. Pick again. Tails. Sorry, Tom. All right, as you can see, we're getting down to the final. So this is the point we got to make sure that not everybody's picking the same thing, because if they, okay, so do we have anybody that wants to pick? Thank you. We got a couple heads there. All right, go ahead and pick. Heads. Okay. So for the accountant or the mathematician in the room, what percentage so far or fraction was heads? 1/3 or 33%, right? All right, so it's down to the final two. So one of you are going to have to pick one, and one of you have to pick the other. We can be at this all night, all right? All right. What's your name, sir? Doug and Kim. Doug and Kim. All right, here we go, Doug and Kim. Kim, you get first place. It's heads. And Doug, you get second. Kim, I'll let you take a seat. You get the all right. And Doug, I want to drink coffee. What's it? All right. So back to the juggling. We all juggle things, right? Back to the juggling. We all get to a point sometimes where we're like, I don't know what to find something to do. To this, we all have to make choices, right? So I know that Doug gave a little bit of a who is he? Okay. But I have to reiterate some of that, okay? Simply because it'll help accentuate why I'm here, okay? So I'm going to be here to talk about St. Francis of Assisi Catholic School in the Archdiocese of Dubuque. You guys know that. Most of you know where it is, and you know that what it's about for the most part. But how did I get here, okay? Terry Eisenbarth is a first generation college graduate. Now I'm going to say that one more time. Terry Eisenbarth is a first generation college graduate. Is there any first generation college graduates in the room? Doug is. All right, will you stand up for a second? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but this is significant to me. I'm not alone, right? You're not alone, but you know the obstacles. Thank you. You can sit down. You know the obstacles, the challenges, whatever you want to call it. It's a lot easier when you have somebody trailblazing or pioneering for you can say, okay, I've got my uncle Tim, or I've got this, I've got a brother, I have a sister, dad. But I am proud to say that. I'm honored to say it because I made it. Okay? I made it. But you don't know that if you don't look, if you don't know that when you look at me, you're probably like, hey, he looks like a stud. Look at him. He's got that cool thing. I'm joking. I'm not a stud. But isn't there another lesson there? We don't know people's stories, right? But that story is part of why I am driven today. And talk about driven. He called me like 80 times asking if I'd come and talk. Your perseverance right here. And I'm sorry that it took so long. But the drive, the overcoming, the voices in the head, you can't, this is too hard. You have no business there. I went to Central College, but I got there via public school teachers and coaches, and I had a girlfriend from a Christian family. All right, so you can put the two and two together. Teachers, educators. This isn't about public and private to me. This is about teachers, educators. It's about people that want to put service before self, which is what this organization stands for. And so I did it, okay? Rocky road, but I made it. And I even had the privilege, and this is what unites Theron and I years later, because I didn't know him. I've seen him at places, administrative things. But I played football in college, okay? And why football? Why rugby? Why boxing? Because I had I had to get rid of something. I was, by the way, as a foster child for a couple of years growing up, all right? So first generation college, one thing, was in foster care, got pulled away from family. That's kind of hard. But I was delivered to Central College, met a lot of good people, a lot of good coaches and teachers. We played for the same coach called Coach Ron Skipper. I don't know how many of you guys know him, but he is considered a legend in the world of coaching. And he taught us to be gentlemen, students, and then athletes, okay? Think of that order, gentlemen, students, and athletes. And so I feel like I got a degree at Central College as an elementary education major. And I felt like I got a PhD on the football program, in the football program, because of that, the way that he instructed me. All right. So first generation college, I start teaching in Kyoto, Iowa, got my degree. And I say this, two things. I maybe said this to Jackie when I found out her son was a long jumper. I got last place at the state I got last place in long jump at the state track meet. Can you guys give me a hand for that? Last place, baby. Okay. I laugh at that because it's kind of something to be proud of, and a little bit of, well, you know. And one thing I'm really proud of, and this isn't Terry standing up talking about how studly he is, but I was a second team all conference defensive lineman. How big I am? I'm not that big, am I? Okay. The reason I got it as a lineman is I wasn't good enough or smart enough or athletic enough to be a linebacker, because we had some really good athletes, right? But I had the drive. I had the toughness. And that was built through my upbringing, all right? So there's a point where Terry becomes civilized, and it's it's central, but once I start becoming a teacher, I meet my wife, Jackie, who we've been married 22 years, okay? 22 years, and I know that that's not the highest number in the audience, but I stand here before you so proud to be able to say we've made it 22 years, okay? Because it's hard. It's hard. It's just like becoming a first generation college graduate. Marriage is hard. Working with people's hard, but we've made it. And my wife and I are getting stronger, okay? So there's a lesson there too. Your IQ doesn't have to stay the same. Your situation doesn't have to stay the same. You can improve in the life of getting hit with all the curveballs, right? I'd never heard of derecho before in my life, ever, okay? You get through it. So my wife and I start our marriage together and our careers, and we have our family, and that's exciting for me because family was something I craved, faith was something I craved, and I want to help and provide a service for others. So he told you about my family. I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of my faith. I'm proud that you guys got up and said a prayer and then did the Pledge of Allegiance, because that's what we do every day at St. Francis Catholic School. So I'm going to talk about that briefly. So when I knew I was coming here, I'm not a new young administrator. I'm one of those nomadic guys that have been here, there, and everywhere. And I actually have liked it. Some people like to stay somewhere 30 years. I don't understand what that means, right? But I'm here. I love it. I kind of, Marshalltown has a kind of a reputation from the outside world a little bit. And my wife and I had that, like, oh, we love it here. So I get hired, I meet with the staff on the back to school, new guys in town, PD, rah, let's take on this new school year in a pandemic and after derecho hits. And so I was thinking about what I was going to say. And I know that you want me to talk about St. Francis of Assisi. That's the easy part. That'll be coming here in about 2 minutes. But I said, okay, how can I capture who Terry Eisenbart, because I said, who's St. Francis? And I could tell him who the patron saint was and what he was about. And I said, who's Terry Eisenbart? Because I'm going to be here for a while. I'm going to be working with you. And then what are some things we can do to be successful in life? All right. And this all goes back to, he's just rambling. No, he's not. I'm going clear back to being separated, being in foster care, being a first generation. What's it take? What did it take for Terry to survive? What do I see as far as successful people? And the first one is be a vehicle. I said to the staff, be a vehicle, okay? We're all vehicles for something. We're sending something. We're delivering something to somebody or something, okay? Now, I know not everybody believes in Jesus Christ, but I'm telling you, I do. And so I believe that I'm a vehicle for the Lord. Now, people can change the vehicle to whatever they want. But we all are walking billboards and we carry ourselves around, right? Be the light. God is light. We can be the light. Now, what's a light mean? I just had a reading today. We're talking about smile. Smile. Smiling sends a lot. Be full of joy. That's why I wanted to sing I Got the Joy, Joy, Joy. I'll come back and do it sometime if you want me to. But be the light for somebody. But before you can be the light for somebody, you got to make sure your batteries are charged, right? So what does it take? Self-awareness. What do you need? I like naps on the weekend. I got to get some exercise. I need to be with my family. I need fresh air. Okay. But we have a calling to go and do something. Be the light for somebody. Put the gavel away. Those who judge will be judged. Those who condemn will be condemned. And aren't we a very critical people? Man, judging others. It's not our place to do it. Give people grace. Give people the benefit of the doubt, right? And then finally, horsepower. Horsepower. We all have so much, right? You hear tractors, I don't know, 200 horsepower, whatever. But know how much power you have and what you can commit to, and give it all you have, and then make sure you take a break and then get back on. I do that because I know my teachers are limited on what they can do. Even the best, even me, and I got lots of energy. So know your horsepower. So I get to St. Francis of Assisi, there's mission statement, all this stuff, and we can get lost in words. And so I took it all and I balled it up and I said, okay, here's really what all of this is saying. Faith and service. Why St. Francis Catholic School? Why would somebody pay money to send their kid to school? Faith and service. Safe and disciplined environment. There's order, okay, so that you can learn, so that you can have academic and character growth and development. I'm going to tell you what I've been saying to people about that last one. If you get up in front of people and you say something and they know it's not true, you lose credibility, don't you? I used to say faith and service, safe and disciplined environment, and strong academic achievement. Well, what does strong academic achievement mean? And isn't that in the eyes of the beholder? Isn't that a relative term? So then I tweaked it, because if you can go to a place every day and have academic and character growth and development, if you can grow, if you can improve, if you can evolve to a better version of yourself, I believe that's part of the battle, because we all know there's enough obstacles in the way, all right? I say this a lot to people: you matter. I've given cards out to people: you matter, because sometimes we live in a world where people don't feel like they matter. And at one point I didn't feel like I did, right? But we do. That's a message I'm sending to our students. I send to staff. I try to every day. Families, parishioners, you guys. Okay, I don't know what everybody does. I know we've got one accountant here, and I know Doug and Kim, right? You're gonna be warm at night now with that blanket. So the demographics of our school, we're about 200-ish. I'm going to say that, and we're about 25 kids a class. My motion is to get small class sizes and quality people there so you can serve the kids, right, and the families. But I want to end with this, because most of my stops have been in rural schools. And I absolutely love the diversity and the melting pot that comes with being in this, the town and the surrounding towns, because it teaches us all there are people different than us, and it helps us empathize, all right? That's all I have. I would love if you had any questions, because I have a whole bunch of stuff in here that I didn't get to, but it was important to me that you knew. There's this saying: if you get the man right, you'll get the world right. Or if you get the woman right, you get the world right. I wanted to know more about me, and then about what I'm bringing to Francis of Assisi Catholic School. And my ultimate goal is to make sure that kids are safe, and that they're learning, and that they know that they're loved, right? Because as a kid, now go back to what I told you, I did not feel safe and I did not feel loved. So I'm always going to remember that. Love God, love your neighbor, practice the golden rule, treat others the way you would like to be treated.
We have time for questions.
I just want to make a comment, because I drop my child off at Lennon every day, and I pull out, and you're out there every day greeting the kids. Some days you're with a guitar.
Yeah.
Some days it must be dress day. Or
Yeah.
maybe that's how you dress. I don't know, but
Amen. You're welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. I would like, I'm going to buy a little bit of time because some of you may not have it. If you do, you can raise your hand. I'm looking over at Chief, and I remember when I first met, I'd wanted to meet him for a long time, large in part because where I came from, Chief Hendrickson, some of my good buddies from the past schools I've been at usually seem to be chief of police. So I'm like, I got to look up whoever the chief of police is in Marshalltown. But when I was talking to Chief Hendrickson in Pocahontas, Iowa, Northwest Iowa, he said, yeah, Chief Tupper, he's a good guy. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, wow, it seemed like such a whole different world. And Carol, I do have to tell you, when you walked by and we actually shook hands, that was like the second handshake I've had in like, it seems like a year, right? Kind of felt good. I would just say that if, we live in a world where you can get on and Google Saint whatever. I'm even willing to give my cell phone out to anybody. I'll say it right now if you want it, because I'm a firm believer that we are in this together. We're part of the 7 billion people on the planet, right? And we're in this to make the world better. There's enough things going on that can distract us and that are not good. If you watch the news, I'm like, no, let's do our part to make it a better place because people deserve it. So 641-691-5383. Tom has my number. If for some reason you think on it, reflect later, think, man, I'd like to reach out to him and see if he wants to da-da-da-da. Now I'm going to sit here and tell you, I don't know if I'm going to join Rotary or not. I'm not sure if that was the reason to come here. I'm telling you a little bit of my story and what I'm about, but I'm open to service and Lincoln as community to make sure that we preserve some really good foundational core values and take care of each other. All right. Thank you very much.
Wasn't that good? Thank you, Terry. And I did not invite Terry here to join Rotary, but we will call you in the next day or two. So thanks again for being here. If we would all rise and say the four-way test. And I think I've got it memorized. Does everybody else have it memorized except me? Carol's got it done. So first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial all to concerned? Adjourned.